1 minute warning!
To the goofball army out there, hi the families, tell them to get to the next room, tell them to go to your neighbors, because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink, because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, oof.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, the New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, soon to be joined here by Rob. Whoa, sheesh. A long day at work for me. So Rob's having some mic issues. So he's going to be in shortly. He's restarting his computer here, trying to get everything rolling for you guys. So we're going to get started here without him because we got a lot to go over. We're already running a couple minutes late there. But tonight, we're going to be going through the top 10 wide receivers in the 26 NFL draft. And listen, guys, we've said all along, this is a very bad year for this draft. We've been very honest about that from the get-go. This is one of the very few positions that's not bad. So we got Rob here. Let's see if we got him here.
It's a me. All right. It's a working.
Here we go. So also called Mike tonight, apparently, because I'm like, and Mike is not, because I was thinking about your Mike and calling you Mike and hey, guy. So
Mike, Rob, whatever
it is.
Chad next time, jerk.
That goofball.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, like I said, really bad draft this year. We don't hide that. We tell you guys like it is, but wide receiver room is one of the very few bright spots. And I'm telling you right now, guys, we're going over 10 wide receivers tonight. Of those 10 wide receivers, they will all be gone within the first 2 rounds. And to be very frank, other ones that we didn't even talk about yet tonight could also be gone in the first 2 rounds. It's going to be that kind of thing. And there's not much separating 1 through 3. And you can even make the case at 1 through 5. There's not that much of a separation.
There is, but it's not enough to really lose a draft capital on.
No, you know what though? That's my big beef with this. And we'll kind of give it that synopsis here. Is everybody talking about, as a potential Tate 5. Well, why would I get Tate at 5 if I can trade down and get somebody just as good in the middle of the first round?
Yeah, an extra pick out of it.
And it's not that I dislike Tate. I just don't think that Tate is as good as a 5 pick. So, but let's get into it. We're going to go ahead and start at the bottom and work our way to the top. More fun that way. So you guys can argue over who should be number 1, who should be number 2, and all that. Leave you guys a little bit of suspense here.
Break it down.
It's a little Degeneration X now.
Yeah.
What's this? Anyway, guys.
There's an Instagram reel that had the Raw era, the Attitude era of Raw, done to Family Matters. It was completely magic. Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin going in. It's great.
Yes. But let's go over the top 10 here. Number 10. This is a guy that it's a lot of this draft's going to be this way. It's what's your cup of tea? Because that's what's going to separate these guys for you and where you draft them at and what you think position-wise. We got Skyler Bell. Guy from New York, by the way, which is a nice little interesting little tidbit there if he wants to go to the Giants. From the Bronx. Born July 5th of 2002. He's one day from being born on Independence Day, which would be just a sensible twist there. Like coming out of the womb on Independence Day.
Yeah. America.
So 23 years old. He's going to be 24 in July. So, be 24 for the season. So a little bit older as far as a rookie there. Went to high school at the Taft School in Watertown, Connecticut, 5'11" and 5'8", so basically 6 foot. Let's just call it like what it is. 192 pounds. Ran a 4.4 40 times. So those who care about that, we try to give you guys some of that because I know some people do. Started his career over Wisconsin, ended up at UConn. So redshirted in 21, 22 at Wisconsin, 13 games, 30 catches, 444 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 rushes for 16 yards. So, yeah, honorable mention, freshman All-American. Definitely a decent start to his career. Started in 12 of 13 games and was one of 3 Big Ten freshmen with multiple receptions. So again, it's in multiple receiving touchdowns, I should say, that year. So again, it's not a bad start to his career. Then not so good. 12 games, 38 catches, 296 yards and a touchdown. Finished second on the team in receptions. Didn't even get 300 yards. Just tells you all the issues going on at Wisconsin at the time. Imagine that. Your second best receiver gets less than 300 yards.
Absolutely ridiculous.
So he goes to UConn. Now, this is where my biggest concern comes into with him. You had the option to go to another big school. Not to crap on UConn, but let's be honest, it's a basketball school.
Yeah, elite basketball.
You would also say that about Indiana before last year as well, but it's a different scenario. Indiana built up and got to be something good, whereas you can't exactly say that about UConn. So that's the one gripe I'm going to give you right off the bat. I would have loved to see him move to a different, bigger school and see what he did there. But say la vie, we didn't get that chance. 13 games at UConn there in 24, 50 catches, 860 yards, 5 touchdowns. Led the team in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. Also ended up at one game, 153 yards and 3 touchdowns versus Buffalo. So again, not exactly a powerhouse school. 141 yards versus Maryland, 113 yards versus Syracuse. So, yeah, that's about half his yards right there, those 4 games.
Yeah.
But he had a nice little stretch there.
And he did what he was supposed to do. Like, he beat up on those teams that came too.
So
that's what you want.
This past year, 12 games, 101 catches, 1,278 yards, 13 touchdowns. Is a finalist for the Blindikoff Award for the best receiver in college football. Led the team in catches, yards, receiving touchdowns, and set a single season school record for receptions. So, yeah, not too shabby, guys. Not too shabby at all. Again, the only issue I have is the school he went to. But what do we always say in the show? If you're going to go to a school and you're going to go ahead and go to a small school, you better beat the crap out of the competition. 100%. I would say that's a beat the crap out of the competition year. But here's where I say about cup of tea. He's going to be primarily a slot receiver. You throw him in as a Z occasionally. You're going to want to see like motion heavy schemes, spread offense kind of stuff, timing based where you can get some yak yards out of him at that point, crossers, screeners, that kind of stuff. I don't think that you're going to have a situation where every team's going to be interested. I just don't think that's the scenario. And
yeah,
as Deb points out, Jim Mora, yes, was the head coach at UConn. So, but he left. He went to Colorado State now. So he's moved on to, better things there. But obviously, good coaching, at least he got while he was there. But again, I think what you got to look at is if you are looking for a slot receiver, and slot receiver position is not number one in your offense. You know what I mean? Like this isn't your like number one option. Like there's some teams that run through slot. Giants did last year with Wandale, obviously. The Lions do with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And sometimes you do it because of the player you have as well. Sometimes like St. Brown wasn't this amazing talent coming out of college, obviously. He ran a bad 40 and that killed him and put him, to a mid-range kind of prospect. If you want to run him out of the slot and legitimately make the slot part of your offense, this is going to be a decent pickup for you. And again, going to be probably a round 2 kind of guy. Maybe a round 3 if you're lucky and you like him and he drops. Not so lucky for him.
Yeah.
So, but what I like about him is the fact that it's legit real production you're seeing out of him. You can't say that about every single player in this draft. There's a lot of guys that are projection-wise that are safer picks. This is kind of that boom or bust kind of guy. Will 1,300-yard production at UConn transfer to the NFL?
I mean, it all depends on schemes.
You know
like
what?
You put it out just like I'm going to say Brown. Like, you looked at him, like, and it's not a bad like scenario. Like, you look at a guy like that, and you don't think they're going to do much in the NFL. And I'm going to say Brown is a top 10 fantasy player in that position, in the receiver position. Maybe 12
I was going
last
to
year.
make the comparison of Zay Flowers when he was coming out of Boston College, and you and I liked him a lot. We were big on him. We thought he was the second best receiver in the draft besides JSN. And people thought we were crazy, by the way, for that.
I actually had him very close. He was almost my number 1.
Well, how right were we though? JSN now is the highest paid receiver in all the NFL, and Zay Flowers is got a consistent 1,000-yard seasons, and he's the only receiver ever did it. Lamar Jackson. Not to downplay Lamar Jackson, but that's the truth. That's the honest statement. So, and he got, because he went to a small school, because he was a smaller guy, he got looked down on it. Now, I'm not saying that Skyler Bell is going to become the next Zay Flowers. That'd be ridiculous to say. But I do think he's a guy that can get you, even as a rookie, let's say 400, 500 yards from the slot. Maybe get you another 100 on the outside, and then you get a 500-600 receiver. That's a realistic expectation, I think, of this guy at this point. So, but he's, again, good athlete. Again, we said the 440, 440, 41-inch vertical, 11-1 broad. So, not too bad there. Again, got some versatility. Mostly a slot guy, but will play in the outside. He's really good in open field as well. That's something right there. Yards after catch, yards after contact, even for a small guy. That's something you either can do or you can't. He can. So, I just don't know. I look at him and I just don't know, because he's going to have the limitations we talked about. Like I said, yards after contact and that kind of stuff. He's got some limitations of his size. You may get away with some of that at UConn. You're a little undersized at 192 pounds for that.
And it breaks down to is he really 182 or is he 185?
Well, I can take a look and see combine wise, because you know how that is. You look at 5 different places for these guys and it's different. You know what I mean? Let me see what it says combine wise. If he did it there, 6 foot, 192 actually at the combine.
Okay.
So, but again, we had 5'11", 5'8". So we're half an inch different from what, and that's just a Google search I did real quick. Oh, you know what? I take it back. 5'11" and 5'8". Now when I look at the more information, was exactly what it did at the combine. So that's 100% accurate. So again, a little bit smaller, and that might limit him. But that's why you're going to think of him as a slot guy. But I like him. I really do. I think you see growth over the time he was there, especially at UConn. Again, he's a finalist for the Blindikoff Award. And I think he fits the system that the Giants are going to do. It's funny, we talked about this in the show with going back to the Dable years, these small, tiny receivers, these guys, slot guys, and kind of stuff like that. I hate to break it to you guys. That's what I expect still to happen.
I mean, just look at the Ravens.
Yeah. What they do
is that,
big tight ends, small receivers.
Yeah, broad and speed.
Look at what they did with Chicago. They wanted shorter routes. It's what they did when Nagy was there. I fully expect that to be. So I think he's going to be a guy that would fit the system. The problem is he's not going to be our number 2, which is, I think, what everybody wants to do is upgrade to get a better number 2 than Mooney. That's what I keep on hearing from fans. Do we really need another slot guy? We already have Austin. We already have, Isaiah Likely is going to play the slot a lot at that point as well. That's the only question. So I don't know on that, to be honest with you. But like I said, I like the player. I just don't know if I like the fit for the Giants specifically.
Yeah.
So, all right. Number 9. Anthony says they're all better than Slade. Yeah. You stop. Number 9, Chris Brazzell II. From Midland, Texas, born in September 22nd. He's 22 years old, so he'll be turning 23 right around the time of the start of the season. 6'4". That's a tall receiver. 6'4", 198 pounds, ran a 4.37 40 time there. Started his career over at Tulane and then went over the last couple of years to Tennessee. His first year at Tulane, 2 games, just 1 catch for 11 yards. He redshirted after the 2 games, and that was it. 23, 13 games, 44 catches, 711 yards, 5 touchdowns. He was a college, the CFN freshman All-American. He was the 3rd team All-AAC, though he also did miss a bowl game at the end of the year, so that hurt his stats a little bit there due to an undisclosed injury. Then he transfers over to Tennessee. 13 games in 24, 29 catches, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns. So definitely a little bit of a downgrade. But again, now he's in the SEC. Now he's playing with the big boys. SEC academic honor rolls. We'll give him that. Obviously, he's got a little brain in his head there,
Kudos.
9 starts. So they gave him some playing time. It just production wasn't necessarily there. 25, the production got there. 13 games, 29 catches. I'm sorry, wrong one. 12 games, 62 catches, 1,017 yards, 9 touchdowns. He is AP, 3rd team All-American, 1st team All-SEC, both AP and coaches. Another Blindekoff semifinalist, Earl Campbell, Tyler Rose Award semifinalist. Now, he did miss part of camp in 2025 while rehabbing an undisclosed injury. Again, college, they don't have to disclose these things. It's not like the NFL. But he still played in 12. He did skip the Music City Bowl that Tennessee was in because he was coming out in the draft. Now, if you're looking for an outside receiver, this kid is an outside receiver. And that's where some of the dynamics come in. I already see Anthony. For the love of God, I hope we never draft a Tennessee wide receiver again. We all know what happened with Jalen Hyatt, obviously.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it hasn't been pretty. And if you look at the other guy who was the big drafted guy, 3rd round pick out of Tennessee, Cedric Tillman, a couple years ago. He's played 3 years in the league and has 833 yards combined. Not exactly lighting it up for a 3rd round pick. You have some expectations. You want like twice that much.
I was going to say, with at least 2 seasons.
At least he's been somewhat serviceable. He's better than Jalen Hyatt. Again, so am I, but
it's about 100 times more yards than Hyatt.
Yeah. But I always say with wide receivers, I don't know what it is about wide receivers specifically. Some schools do it, and some schools do it right. LSU, Ohio State, Alabama. Some teams, TCU, Tennessee, they get these big name wide receivers that come out, and they never pan out. They just never pan out. Now, what's interesting about this, because I know as Giants fans, we're going to compare, obviously, Jalen Hyatt and Chris Brazzell eventually because they played for the same school. The difference is the way Hyatt played was he played from the slot and stretched the field vertically, which is not something you get away with in the NFL. And I think that's part of why he's having the problem. They play Hyatt in the slot. College, you can get away with that. You know what happens in the NFL? You try to burn people, they're going to smack you the first 5 yards and bop you up right off of your damn route.
Yeah. Sometimes in college, Tennessee's a good school, but and play some tough teams, but every team is tough. And even the Raiders, I give them shit all the time.
Except when they played us and benched everybody. That's a whole different.
Yeah, that's a different story. But those are still elite athletes from college.
Yes. But it's also the size and the physicality of it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a difference in that.
100%.
You know, it's why college offenses are college offenses. And Tennessee has typically run a college offense. But again, he plays outside. He plays with the typical boundary wide receiver, and that's the difference. But I do think because of where he played, he's a project right off the bat. But you know what you can't teach, Rob? You can't teach somebody to be 6'4" and run a 4.37.
No. We also say you can't teach speed about height. So
no, but I get it. But I'm just saying, like, he has the height and the speed. And that's the thing. He's got those long arms. Like, if you throw it anywhere near him, he's going to get it, basically, because he's got those long arms.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to win jump balls. He's going to go over the top. He's going to do all these things that a shorter receiver can't. Like, we're talking about, you know, Skyler Bell a minute ago. Skyler Bell is not doing that. Got almost half a foot on him.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's got all that stuff there. You see the downfield production with him at that point. You see a major jump in 2025 as well as second year in the offense. You see him beating on the SEC, which is a good, like I said, this is probably still, I know it may not be what it used to be necessarily, but it's still probably the top conference overall for competition. You know, when he played against top 25 schools too, okay, 25 catches, 402 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Like, it wasn't like he shied away when he played better teams. If anything, he rose up.
Yeah.
So I got to give him that as the kudos here. The issues I have with him: his route tree isn't great. And again, that's the Tennessee thing. This is the Tennessee part of it. You're going to have to coach him up. You're going to have to teach him stuff. Will he learn it? Can he do it? Because he's never had to do it. He's been a little inconsistent on his catches. A little dropsies, oopsies, whoopsies. And you haven't really seen him be an elite separator. And that's going to be something that could get him in trouble in the NFL. You're going to have to create that separation. If you're having trouble getting separation in college, like you said, Rob, next level.
Big time. Big difference.
Yep. Exactly. So, and one thing I hate is when I watched the tape, I thought I saw a little bit of inconsistency and effort. That's what I really hate to see. And this is why I got him at 9. But I'm telling you right now, guys, the talent is top 5. The school and the little bit of lackadaisicalness I saw there, and again, maybe I'm misreading it. I'm looking at tape. That's what I'm doing. It's not like I saw, you know, somebody in the, you know, yelling at the sideline saying, "Hey, you were talking to that one." Like, I just don't see it, and that's my issue.
And it's not like we're watching every Tennessee game out there. So, and from the start to finish, so we're going to see some of the tape. So you don't know what the play was prior.
No,
what the call was, and
we also don't know what that play called for. Let's be honest with that either.
Yeah, so like some of the film we might see might be like it might have felt him lay off a little bit.
I just doubted that it said go 2 yards, go oof to the corner and give up. Like that's why I'm saying that. Like I just
run play, go block it.
So when I see a project that I got to go ahead and teach a route tree to, teach a legitimate NFL wide receiver system to, that I see a little bit of issues with work ethic potentially, that's a huge red flag to me.
Yeah.
Huge red flag. But again, you can't teach somebody to be 6'4", run a 4.37. And this guy here, I would say the interview process is probably going to be the biggest thing. Like, you need to know, can I teach him? Is he coachable? Will he put in effort? Can I get through to him?
Yeah.
You know, only John Harbaugh's going to know that part if he's interested.
Yeah. I don't. The fit doesn't seem like it's there for us. Yeah, he's a player to me. It seems like he's probably going to be like on the Steelers or Kansas City.
Damn. Steelers or Kansas City.
But then Steelers is a different team now. Yeah, They changed a lot this offseason.
That they did. Now, I should also say, too, if you guys if the name happens to ring a bell beyond the college stuff here, his father, Chris Brazzell, also was drafted by the Jets in 1998. Didn't end up playing for the Jets. Started in a couple of years, was playing for 99 and 2000 for the Dallas Cowboys, and then went to play in the CFL for a little while. So, a little bit there. His brother also played at Tennessee as well, Colin Brazzell. So, definitely some football genetics in there in the family. A
little history.
And as far as a fit, listen, I don't hide when I like or don't like a player. I don't like this player. I don't. But if you're looking for an outside receiver, which is what I keep on hearing Giants fans talk about, and you're okay with one that you might need to take a little time to develop, he could potentially fit in a small role in year one, maybe takes over Slayton in year two, because we know Slayton's probably gone at the end of this year. Like, that's probably your best case scenario.
You actually think the Giants actually get rid of Slayton finally?
Eventually, I look at Anthony already. He says, also per draft buzz, he has the worst hands that a receiver could have. So it's just a tall Darius Slayton. Like I said, it's an effort thing. I really think it is. I think it's an effort thing. And this is why I don't like that when I see effort issues.
Look at you, Banks.
It's that does he love football? You can't teach that. And there's plenty of guys that are out there just for the paycheck. And I don't begrudge them. Let's be very frank. Let me use this analogy. This is going to be the most messed up analogy I'm ever to use. Rob, let's say hypothetically a company came to you and said, I think you would make an excellent ballerina. I want to pay you $5 million per year to be a ballerina. Now, I know you're not a fan of the ballet.
I am not. But I
would you do for $5 million a year? Would you go ahead and be a ballerina?
Now,
is that like a male version of a ballerina? By the way, I don't know.
I think it's just a ballerina.
I don't know if it's a gender specific term, but you know what I mean. Would you be a male ballerina?
Now, you gotta stick to your ethics here, and Benjamin Franklin, I believe. So I would probably take the ballerina outfit. One size too big, one size too small. I look like the Toxic Avenger. And I would do my little spin, my little turn, do my dots. I probably wouldn't be the best out there. Probably be the funniest looking ballerina out there. But I'll take that paycheck for next year.
And you also probably wouldn't work as hard because you were guaranteed $5 million a year, no matter what.
Yep. And my family's now taken care of. So
exactly. And that's why I'm just saying, when people talk about this, does they love football? Why is that so important?
I'll still make it look good. Let's be real. I'll still make it look good. But it would be the best.
Which one of us wouldn't do it? I would do it in a heartbeat. Put the goddamn tutu on me. I don't care.
Yeah. Do you want to keep it pink? Do you want to give it black? I don't care. Make it rainbow.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, my family's taken care of.
So again, not my pick. But if you want him and you like him, that's where I would say you got him as. You get a developmental guy. He's going to take a back seat for a year, eventually replace Slayton. But he's not a guy I would want. I'm good.
If you're going to roll the dice, let's get away from the Slayton type of players.
Yes. So it's funny you say that because we have the complete opposite of Slayton now.
Ooh, you like that segue?
Yes. It's like you have notes in front of you. Germie Bernard, who's played a lot of different places, but Alabama is where he ended up at last year. From Las Vegas, Nevada there. Viva Las Vegas. Born December 2nd, 2003, so he's 22 years old. And will be for pretty much all of the season there.
Yeah.
From Liberty High School, 6'1¼ 206 pounds. Started at Michigan State, then went to Washington, then Alabama. So again, he's been around. I can make a really horrible analogy there, but I'm not going to do it. started off Michigan State, 2022, 12 games, 7 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed once for 3 yards. Kick return. This is the guy we're talking special team help here. 6 kick returns, 119 yards. Played in all 12 games as a true freshman and finished overall with 250 all-purpose yards. Most people started at a bigger school like Michigan State's not a tiny little school there.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I gotta look at this. Deb is giving us the ballerina thing. She says a male ballerina dancer is usually referred to as a principal dancer. Rob, being a principal dancer is a little easier on the ego.
I appreciate that because I'll be the best goddamn principal dancer I can be out there.
I never, like I said, I don't watch ballet or do anything ballet either, so I don't know. And don't get me wrong, like I don't. It's not a masculine thing or whatever. Like I like. Oh God, my camera's going crazy. Look at this.
Oh God, what are you doing over there?
Oh, I don't know. I hit the button and all of a sudden it started doing its own thing in there. But I like musicals and stuff like that. Like it's not even a manly thing. I don't know. I watch people dancing around. I get bored.
Hey, it's right. Combat sports, grappling. Coach always said I had good hips. Be a great ballerina. Principal dancer.
Anyway, 2023, Washington again. Washington goes to now 14 games, 34 catches, 419 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 rushes, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 kick returns for 180 yards, 3 punt returns for 7 yards. Now, this was the Michael Penix year. We talked about it. They had like 3 receivers that all came out of the draft in the first 2 days being drafted. He was number 4 on the depth chart with 419 yards. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
I think most teams would take receiver number 4 with 419 yards. That means usually pretty good things about 1, 2, and 3. Now, he did miss a title game due to an injury versus Michigan, which you have to imagine was something severe because who else would, avoid a title game? But yeah, so moves on to Alabama, though. Alabama. 2024, 13 games, 50 catches, 794 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 rushes, 37 yards, 1 touchdown. Immediately transfers into Alabama and leads the team in receptions and receiving yards. That's not easy. Alabama's got some people usually. Like, this ain't no small school. So, I'll take it. Then this year follows up with 13 games, 64 catches, 862 yards, 7 touchdowns, 18 rushes, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. He even passed the ball twice for 15 yards.
Oh, so you're saying Dart could have a receiving touchdown this year?
Possibly.
He's drafted?
Maybe get another one of Jameis Winston. Blindekoff Award semifinalist, led Alabama in catches and yards once again. Finished tied for 5th in the SEC in receiving touchdowns. So, not bad. And what I like about him is he moves around the field. He's that tweener kind of range. You know what I mean? He's not the 5'10" little guy. He's not the 6'3" bigger receiver. He's right in that tweener kind of range where he fits anywhere. So you see him on the outside. You see him coming out of the slot. And again, we talked about this draft is so much based on what do you like? What's your cup of tea? Well, his cup of tea
is everything.
But his cup of tea specifically is he's the guy who gets open and gets the catch. And that's it. Like, he's not the yak yard guy. He's going to get you. My camera's going nuts tonight. I don't know what's going on.
That's it, man.
You're going to get people dizzy here. I'm move it manually here. Trying. Okay, but yeah, he's not the crazy yak yards guy. He's not the guy going downfield and doing that kind of stuff. Like, he's the guy who's going to get you 8, 10, 12 yards on a consistent basis. He almost reminds me of a bigger version of Wandale, not this past year, but the year before. Always open, gets a lot of catches, doesn't get yak yards, doesn't make necessarily a massive play. He's not going to be 20, 30 yards down the field, but he's consistently going to be open like a security blanket for a quarterback. He reminds me of a lot of that. And that's a job in the NFL. That's the role. And like I said, everything he does is like, it's mid. And that's the weird thing about him. You don't know quite where to put him at because even size-wise, 206 pounds. Again, that's mid. That's not small. That's not big. 4.48 40 time. That's not slow. That's not fast anymore.
It's crazy.
Literally every single thing he does. But he also excelled at Alabama, and that's what I like about him. And Alabama typically does a very good job in developing receivers. So is he going to be your number one receiver? Hell's no. This is a guy that you can get probably a round 2. That's going to be a guy that probably is more of a, I don't want to say a gadget, but a security blanket, short yardage kind of receiver. And like I said, that's probably his ceiling.
Which is okay. Like, depends on the scheme. It depends on your setup. Like, I think he has a potential, to do well with the Giants of what they've set up. Like, that's what they're looking for. You want guys to throw the ball down the field 5, 10 yards. Like, if you're consistently going to, like, you give the ball to the turbo, he gets 4 yards. And you to go ahead and throw it to this guy, he gets 8 yards. That's a first down, then some.
Yeah, I mean, it's
all you need to keep the ball moving.
Still a role, and you also got to throw in the fact that he does returns as well. He does punt returns. He does kickoff returns. Like, this is a guy that even as a rookie, if you're going, okay, he needs some time to develop, because a lot of times you don't know till you get these guys in. You go ahead and kind of get him in, and all of a sudden, he sucks. Let's say hypothetically, worst case scenario, and you need I need to season him a little bit. I don't want to put him out there. Let's say that you throw him on special teams as a returner, and you still got to use that of him, and then you develop him into a better receiver. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be a solid depth piece guy right off the bat that develops into a quality number 2. That's just my own opinion. And it's funny. Anthony says, and he's doing that in Bama with the C grade quarterback. I guess Anthony doesn't like Ty Simpson there. Ty's not bad. He just needs protection, and that's the problem. He needs time. You don't give him time, he sucks. You give him time, he's not bad. So, that's could be said about a lot of quarterbacks, to be honest. But all right. Next up, probably one of the most interesting gambles in this draft. And you all know how I feel about gambling. I don't always like to do it. I like the safe picks. I'm a little bit of a chicken shit.
A little bit. It's all right.
This is a gamble I would actually take. This is the gamble I would take right here. And I'm telling you guys, this guy right here is 100% tailor fit for the New York Giants. Chris Bell from Yazoo City, Mississippi. It's like it. Yazoo City.
Yazoo.
Get a little jump in the sea when I say that. Yazoo. Born June 7th, 2004. So he's 21 years old right now. He'll be 22 though when the season starts. 6'1" and 7/8. So we'll say 6'2". Make it easy. 222 pounds. Ideal outside size. Right there. 100% ideal. Played in Louisville. 22, 9 games. 1 catch, 18 yards. So, again, not much rookie season. 23, 13 games. 26 catches, 386 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Starting to build up a little bit. 24, 13 games, 43 catches, 737 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Started all 13 games. Averaged 17.1 yards per catch, guys. This guy gets down the field. Also rushed 1 time for 47 yards. I guess it was a little bit of a surprise. Then goes 25 when he had his breakout year there. 72 catches, 972 yards. Sorry, 917 yards, 6 touchdowns. First team All-ACC, Blindikoff Award semifinalist. Here's the problem. Tore his ACL in Louisville's last regular season game at SMU. Missed the last 2 games. If it wasn't for that injury, I am telling you guys right now,
top 3.
I know I'm not top 5. I wouldn't say that, but he would probably be a late first round pick. I think.
I'm in the right receivers. Not like,
easily. He'd probably be number 4 for us. That's how much I like him. And a lot of people have dropped him because he didn't have an injury history before this. So you don't know how he's going to respond to a big injury, obviously. But here's what I like about him. He is a boundary X receiver. He does well going vertical. He does very well in play action kind of shots down the field. You see a lot of that. He does back fades very well at the red zone. Like, he does all these things that we would like to have on the Giants. The thing is, you don't know what you're going to get him in 26. And that's why a lot of teams are going to shy away from him. We always say it takes a year to get back. So let me throw this at you. Because it's going to sound crazy. The Giants are in a position they don't need a guy right now. Mooney's on a 1-year deal. Austin's on a 1-year deal. Slayton, for all intents and purposes, is on a 1-year deal. Because we're going to cut him at the end of the year if he doesn't have an amazing year. This is a guy you could teach the offense to, get him on the practice field, get him knowing what's going on, have him have a small role this year, and then take off next year.
That's right up the new coach's their mindset.
And you can get a first-round talent in the 3rd round.
Yeah, it could be the steal of the draft without anyone knowing.
It truly could be. And it won't look like it at first. It won't. I mean, but again, 222 pounds. He's prototypical size, 10-inch hands. Think about it. He had 917 yards and he missed 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So here's some of the games he had this year, too. Against Virginia, 12 catches, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against Miami. You saw them in the championship game, right? Decent team, safe to say.
Yeah.
9 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'm telling you, this kid could easily be the steal of the draft. And again, everything is going to be based on how he heals up from this ACL, and the medical obviously is extremely important. If there's one team that's used to looking at medical records of ACL tears, it's the Giants.
It's fair.
It's very fair. How many do you think Ronnie Barnes has looked at in the last 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, however long he's been on the team?
Wow.
Sad thing is 50 years isn't that much of a hyperbole.
Yeah.
It's almost 50 years. He's still on the stats. Like, he still pick his brain. I mean, there's plenty of people to look at it. You know, he still, I think, needs a little bit of help with the route tree. It's a little bit limited, not quite as bad as like Brazzell was over in Tennessee, but there's still a little bit there. Needs a little help with just subtle moves to get a little better separation, I think, as well. But he's got the size and everything to do it. He had the play speed to do it. We don't know his 40 time, so we can't say that part because he's battling, coming back from ACL. He's not going to run a 40 time right now. It's not going to be good, guys. But again, that's what it's all about. There is where it's at there. But I'm telling you, this kid's going to be good. He really is. I like him a lot there. And again, I think the Giants are in that weird position where they can go ahead and hold on to a guy for a year and have him be a smaller role, knowing that next year, hey, we're building up to next year. 27 is your year.
Yeah. We're building a future.
Yeah. Stay
for longevity.
Yeah. And he's a schematic fit. I really think he fits very well into what the Giants want to do. So all right. So we had the boomer bust kind of pick there with Chris Bell. Before we cut to go ahead and pay the bills here, we got one more. And this is if you're a guy who likes safe picks like I usually do, this is your safe pick guy. Denzel Boston from South Hill, Washington, born January 6th, 03, so he's 22 years old. Came from Emerald Ridge High School. If there's ever an Emerald Ridge High School, it'll be in Seattle.
It would be
6'3", 5'8", so 6'3.5", 212 pounds. So again, prototypical size again. Played his whole career at Washington. 23, 14 games, 4 catches, 39 yards. Again, this was that year we talked about a minute ago when we talked about Bernard. Like, that receiver room was stacked, so I'm not holding anything against him whatsoever. Like, you're going to literally have 4 guys. With him, actually 5 guys. Not the burgers, but 5 guys that were going to get picked in the first, 2 days of the draft on the same roster at the time. So that's pretty damn impressive. Obviously, things clean up in 24. Again, 3 players got drafted from that wide receiver room. Bernard goes off to Alabama. All of a sudden, he gets a bigger role. 13 games, 63 catches, 807 yards, 9 touchdowns. Honorable mention all Big Ten from both the coaches and the media. Academic all Big Ten. So again, he's got a little brain in his shoulders there. Led the team in receiving yards and touchdowns. This past year, 12 games, 62 yards. 62 catches, 881 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Really good red zone production. 13 all Big Ten. Honorable mention all Big Ten is return specialist as well. So we're getting at the special teams help there. And again, academic all Big Ten. This is a smart player. You didn't get it once, you got it twice. Now he did miss the Purdue game this year with a lower body injury after being hurt on a punt return at Washington, but did go ahead and return for the rest of the season. So it wasn't anything big there. But he's another guy, outside guy. I mean, again, 6'4", 212 pounds, got 32-inch arms. Again, these are things you can't teach. Gets in the red zone. 9 touchdowns in 24, 11 and 25. So he's really ranked 8th in Washington's history in most receiving touchdowns. We just talked about how they have 5 guys. 5 guys that are going to get drafted out of that same room. And he's 8th overall in that school's history. And he's just a productive receiver. And I hate to use this analogy, but I'm going to do it because I think Giants fans will get the analogy I'm making. He plays the way we hoped Kenny Golladay was going to.
Not the way he did.
Clearly, yes. But what I'm saying is he's a possession guy. He jumps up. He gets the ball. It's like if you throw it in his directions, you could very well make the claim he has the best hands in this draft, and I don't think many people would question that. Insane long arms for the catch radius. Amazing handwork overall to catch the ball. I think there's a lot to like on him. I just don't think he'll ever be an elite receiver, and that's where I got him just out of the top 5 for that reason. And there's a lot of guys that will bang the drums for him like you wouldn't believe. I see Money Mike there saying Steve Smith has Boston ranked the 3rd best receiver in the draft, and he's not the only one I've seen that have huge love for this guy. So, yeah. But here's a guy that'll be late round 1, early round 2 kind of guy. And it all depends because how many of those guys at the later part of the draft, that first round, love him. Like I said, it's a love-hate thing. He's got a little bit of issues as far as speed potentially. He refused to run the 40 time, which, again, I'm not a 40 guy. I've said that all along. Under Olympics with the combine, I've never shied away from that. It scares me that he didn't want to run it, though. Like, he didn't want to touch it. He was like, nope, not doing it. Not doing it. Because here's part of the problem. When you're a guy who's a fringe day one pick, why would you do something on purpose going to hurt your stock? Now people can question it. Well, he just didn't want to run it. You run a 4.5, now all of a sudden you're definitely a round 2 pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions there. And it could go either way. Like maybe his hamstring wasn't feeling right and he didn't want to risk injury at the combine. Due to underwear Olympics, if you will.
His hamstring was just as bad as my body was the last time I called out work drunk.
Maybe it was hungover. Who knows?
Cough. Just saying.
I'm just saying there's plenty of reasons. So, like, yes, he goes out there and he runs a fast 40. You're a solid, top 5.
If he ran a good 40, he's top half of the first round, probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if he runs it like shit, he may drop to the 3rd round.
I don't think that far necessarily, but I would say mid to late 2nd round would be worst case scenario for him if something like that happened. But again, you're talking a lot of money.
Runs a 6'3".
We're talking a lot of money for these guys. The difference between being a late 1st round pick and being a mid 2nd round pick, a couple $1 million. So he's doing it for his own benefit, but it kind of always makes me kind of a little scared when I see a player that refuses to do something like that. But again, that's not what he is. What he is going to be is, I think for a team, he's going to be amazing in the red zone. I think he's going to be that guy you just throw the ball up to and he just goes up and gets it over the corner.
Boop, boop.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. And Money Mike says 40 is definitely overrated. They showed top 10 40 all time. Chris Johnson was the only good player. Yeah, like I said, I'm with you on that, man. Like I said, I just think the fact that he won't run it makes me worried what it's going to be. You can succeed without it. JSN succeeded without it. We talked about that years ago. We talked about him. You know, Tate, we're going to talk about a little bit, is also not a great 40-time guy. There's plenty of guys. I'm on Ross St. Brown. We're talking about him dropping because of it. But to not even do it, that's just where I get a little concerned. And his burst isn't necessarily great either. And that's one thing I'm curious to see when he faces the better competition in the NFL. Can he get off of press? Because he's not going to swing by them. Like, he's going to have to be good enough with his hands and his movements to go ahead and get around them.
Yeah.
Some people can do that. Some people can't. So, but again, if you want a true outside guy that complements Nabers, he does complement what Nabers does very well. Like, he's the polar opposite. Like, he's just the steady hands, tall guy, jump up, go get the ball kind of guy. And Nabers is the athletic freak.
Yeah. And sometimes you need that, yin and yang, if you will, that black and tan.
My only concern with him on the Giants specifically, because again, everything's based on scheme fit, is, and we don't know what offense we're going to run to a certain degree, obviously, with the new coaching staff here. But if we run the type of scheme that I'm expecting, like Nagy had over in Chicago, will he like quick release, quick open kind of receivers? That's not necessarily who Denzel Boston is. So if that's the case, he's not a fit. But on paper, he's the polar opposite to Nabers. And he does fit. So it's again, it depends on what you want to go with. What kind of offense are the Giants going to do? We don't know 100%. So we can just guess. So, all right, guys, before we get to the next five guys, we got to talk about paying the bills here, because we got that going on here, of course, as always. So, of course, as always, you can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. You do, of course, one-time support payments, buy us a beer, or you can do, of course, monthly support payments, killer livers over time. Of course, we also have the draft guide as we're in the middle of doing the wide receivers here. We will have over 200 prospects in that guide when we're all said and done there. You can go to buymeacoffee-2giantgoofballs-draft guide, find it, and more information on that there. And as we go ahead and get more and more players done here, we will have them on there, full on pros, cons, stats, how they fit the Giant scheme, and also a link to our video talking about that player as well. And again, to our best of my knowledge, the only one that's 100% geared towards the Giants as well. And of course, you have the store there, the merch store, 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com. You got shirts, cups, mugs, pins, towels, all kinds of fun stuff. No Tupperware.
Oh, man.
We do have aprons. Because we have that in the pancake collection there. The newest one there from Pat's Pancake House, home of the fullback stack there. And of course, as always, we have our special with any purchase over $100 gets automatically free shipping there, guys. So, all right, let's get back to it, because we got a lot to go over still. We've been taking a little longer than we expected here. So, nice thing about having a good group talk about that for once, you know. So, next up, number 5, Omar Cooper Jr. from Indianapolis, Indiana, born December 14th, 2003. So he's 22 years old, from Lawrence North High School there. 6 foot even, 201 pounds. So again, that kind of tweener guy. And interesting, because like we all know Indiana, how they changed. Like Indiana, we were talking about before, it's a basketball school basically. You can think of Bob Knight throwing chairs across the court. Like that's what I still think of. I'm old, obviously, but that's what we think of with Indiana. Well,
yeah,
you know, Signetti kind of changed that and made it into a football school now too. And you see a difference in how Cooper has responded with this. So he starts off there, 3 games, 5 catches, 96 yards as a rookie there, as a freshman. Obviously, that's not a big deal. Second year, 9 games, 18 catches, 267 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Did have a lower leg injury that ended his year early. Then 24, 13 games, 28 catches, 594 yards, 7 touchdowns, 2 rushes, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Average 21.2 yards per catch, guys. That is definitely a pretty healthy number. This past year, 16 games, 69 catches, 937 yards, 13 touchdowns, 3 rushes for 74 yards and a touchdown. Left the Big Ten championship game in the first quarter with another lower body injury. Again, they don't have to give you much information in college. So we got a couple of things as far as minor injuries, nothing that affected the long term there. But what I like about him is there's a lot of steady hands, guys. There's a lot of steady, like, this is a okay receiver. There's not a lot of explosive receivers in this draft. This is one of the few, I feel like. So, again, 21.2 yards he had there in 24. 13 touchdowns this past year. So you see explosive plays. You see red zone projection there. His yak abilities also were there. So, like, not the best competition, obviously, but Indiana played Indiana State, and he had 207 yards against them. Beat the crap out of them. Again, a crappy team. 136 of his 207 yards were yak. So he gets it there. So now he's done well outside. He's done well from the slot. So you can move him around a little bit there. Obviously took on a much larger role this past year and excelled in it. Now, in touchdowns. Like let's get away from the whole like Joe Judge thing from years ago. Like touchdowns, they weren't important. Like he acted like his field goals were important.
Special teams, baby.
You win the game by getting into goddamn end zone. This guy was tied for 3rd nationally in receiving touchdowns. I can't stress that enough. That's what I care about. Can you get in the end zone? Can you help us get points? This kid can. So, but there's no verified combine testing for him, so we don't know fully what the specs are as far as that. His size, like I said, he doesn't quite fit either profile. He's not the tiny slot guy. He's not the big outside guy. There's a little bit of a tweener like that. But he did work in the slot this year. So obviously, I think most people will look at him will think slot. That's what he played this past year. But I watched the tape this year and I love it. I don't necessarily love some of the prior stuff. How much of this is the regime change and changing of the school in general? I'm leaning on that being the case. Yeah. But I have questions whenever I see one really good season and that's it.
Sometimes that's when they develop, and sometimes it's just a good year. That's it.
Yeah. And I just don't know yet which one. But again, a decent guy if you want to get a slot receiver. I don't know if the Giants are in that market. Personally, I don't think they are. So I don't think it's necessarily a fit. So Money Mike asked if we talked yet about Branch from Georgia yet. We have not, because he's not in our top 10. So we don't know what we're going to do fully with the rest of the wide receivers. I have 33 in our profile right now. So we could easily do multiple more episodes on wide receivers. I don't know if we're going to do that yet, or if we're going to release individual videos separately from the lives that we do, Mike, but we'll let you guys know as things drop what we end up doing with that. But he's going to be a fun one to talk about. To be honest, he's not that far removed from the top 10, that's for sure. And he's probably also a day 2 guy. But he's a love it or hate it guy too. You got to fit the scheme, what he does. Branch is the guy that you have to have somebody willing to work the parameters of what he does. And it might be interesting fit for the Giants because he actually, talking about Zay Flowers before, he also fits that Zay Flowers kind of profile there. So, we'll see. All right, let's get to our next guy, though, is on the list. And this is probably one of the first ones that I feel like we're going to differ from a lot of people. Like, you can go anywhere on the 5 through, 15 that we're going to have basically on this list and beyond. that people go, okay, I would put it here and there, but I can see where you would do that. It's not that big a thing. There's a player that just jumped off the freaking film for me. KC Concepcion. Also, you might see Kevin from Charlotte, born September 24th, 04. So he's 21 years old. Be 22 for much of the year. From Chambers High School, 5'11", 190 pounds. Started off at North Carolina State. Last year was at Texas A&M, and just you saw it. In just 1 year that you saw it. NC State first, 13 games in 23. 71 catches, 839 yards, 10 touchdowns. Rushed the ball 41 times for 320 yards. ACC Rookie of the Year. ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year. FWAA Freshman All-American. Set NC State freshman records for receptions. Receptions.
He does a lot of receivings.
Receptions and receiving touchdowns there. In 24. Follows it up a little bit down there. 12 games, 53 catches, 460 yards, 6 touchdowns, 19 rushes, 36 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So you see his efficiency did drop off a little bit when you look at the numbers, but also his usage dropped. But still was an essential part of the offense. Obviously, he wasn't happy with the lack of usage and went to Texas A&M. Now, keep in mind, Texas A&M, legit school. You're playing the best of the best of the best.
Sure.
That's the truth of where you're at there. You're an SEC school now. Texas A&M did not have a good quarterback either. 13 games, 61 catches, 919 yards, 9 touchdowns, 10 rushes for 75 yards and a touchdown, 25 punt returns, 456 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's done good.
Paul Hornig, award winner, which is basically the all-SEC performer that had multiple roles because he did rush, he did catch, he did punt return, he did a lot of things. He was all over the place. Let me be very clear with what he is, though. People will call him a gadget player because they don't understand it. I feel like anybody that does multiple things is called a gadget player all of a sudden at wide receiver. That's not always the case. What he is a guy who's absolutely goddamn dynamic when you get his hands on the ball. And you're going to find ways to get his hands on the ball because of that. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And he's going to be definitely one of those love him or hate him kind of players. Because you have to work within certain parameters. You know, he loves working in motion heavy kind of stuff because he does have a little trouble getting off the press. It helps free him up. You know, he does play a lot in the slot. He can also play a little outside. He's kind of that tweener kind of size. You know, he does good in option routes. Again, you got the return game. Like, he's all over the place. And again, it's not a bad size. He's not huge, and you'll go, this is a big outside receiver. But it's not a bad size he has. I'm telling you right now, he's that guy that gets into space, and you're in trouble. Like, he is that kind of athletic profiler. And if you can get him open like that, and you can maneuver into getting him the ball, he's going to be a hell of a player. Absolute hell of a player there. Now, again, his only weakness to me is the fact that you're going to have to figure out how to use him. This is not going to be for everybody. This is not going to be like you get a bland offensive coordinator has no clue how to use anybody with any kind of ingenuity. Like, he's going to suffer. He needs to go to the right place. For the record, I think he would actually thrive with the Giants.
I think so.
Because what we say a bit before, quick release, short routes, yak yards, that's what we think in the Giants are going to want based on what you've seen in Baltimore, based on what Nagy runs when he was in Chicago. He would fit in. The question is, again, do we want the big outside receiver? Because that's what we want. That's not him. Like, let's not try to put a square peg in a round hole. But to me, you get a player like this, you find a way to fit him, and you just figure it out. It's a great goddamn problem to have.
I think that's 100% right. Like, you want that small guy, you want someone to get you the yak yard, short throw, quick pass.
Yep.
Jaxson Dart would eat that up.
And let me put this analogy out there for you guys. And again, I don't want to be kicking the people, on the way out the door. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. Imagine Wandale with yak yards. I think he's that good. I really do. Wandale with yak yards, good. And then you throw in the special teams ability.
Wandale was good without the yak.
Yeah, but I'm saying Wandale, how many times where there's no yak yards? There's no yak yards. Like, it just knows what it was. He was going to catch the ball 5-6 yards down the field, get 8 yards. That's what he was. He wasn't going to break big moves and, figure out the vision to get through and just get those, crazy 10, 15 yards after the catch. It wasn't him. And that's fine. Everybody has their flaws and everybody has things they're good and bad at. So I'm saying I'm really not trying to bust on Wandale here. We've been big fans of him for his time here. But KC Concepcion has that ability. I like him. I like him a lot. I just don't know what the Giants think there. But you find a way to get the ball in his hands. So, all right, we got 3 left, guys. 3 left. And I got to tell you, the splitting hairs analogy is definitely there. Like 100%, either one of these guys, I could see 100% why anybody would put them at number 1. Anyone could put them at number 1, and I wouldn't complain at all. I would understand 100%. But we got it. We can't do that. We can't chicken shit. So we're gonna get into it.
But he'll tell you how it is on his opinion.
What was that?
So you won't gamble. Your chicken shit when it comes to that, but when it comes to your opinion, let's go.
Let's go. Makai Lemon, born in Los Alamitos, California, June 2nd, 2004, 21 years old. Los Alamitos High School he went to, 5'11", 192 pounds, 30.5-inch arms, hands a little smaller, 8 3/4. Spent his whole career at USC, 9 games, 6 catches, 88 yards. Played on both sides of the field actually as a freshman, played some corner even too. So they weren't quite sure where to quite use him yet. Next year, 24, full-time now on offense. 12 games, 52 catches, 764 yards, 3 touchdowns. 19 kick returns for 514 yards, so 27.1 yard average there. Ended up missing 1 game in the Wisconsin game in 24. All Big Ten offensive honorable mention, all Big Ten return specialist, 3rd team. So you see development. You see it all kind of coming together a little bit. It fully came together this past year. 12 games, 79 catches, 1,156 yards, 11 touchdowns. Even rushed the ball a few times, got a couple touchdowns out of there. Passed the ball once even for 24 yards and a touchdown. Was the Blindikoff Award winner for the nation's best wide receiver. 1st team All-American. Polynesian College Football Player of the Year. Led the Power 4 in receiving yards and receiving yards per game. Led the Big Ten in receptions per game, yards after catch, and tied for the conference lead in receiving touchdowns. Just a little bit of a good year.
You would say.
Now, here's the thing with him. I don't know how much is going to translate to the NFL with him. Because I see a lot of good. I don't see a lot of great. And this is where I look at him and Carnell Tate. And to be very frank with you guys, I don't see the difference really too much. And I get there's a difference in how the two play. The styles are different and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying risk-wise, ability-wise, that's the kind of stuff that I don't see much of a difference in. You could go ahead and tell me the Giants draft Tate, they draft Lemon. I don't see a difference. I'm good either one. either one of them are a safe pick that'll probably be a decent receiver in this league.
Yeah, I find it fair. I do find him complimenting Nabers a lot as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit with Nabers. I do. But here's my thing: is I think Lemon's going to go around like the 10 to 15 range, probably. So why pick up Tate at 5?
When you drop back,
get some picks, get Lemon instead. And I'm telling you, there's some guys who would tell you point blank you got the better player. Now, we talked about it the day. Remember, we had, we had people like freaking saying he was going to be the best receiver in this draft. And there's some people who do think that. And again, they're not crazy. You see it. He's got a strong tempo there in routes. He's very good at getting separation, especially intermediate balls. Gets yak yards. They use him as a receiver, as a returner. Again, he threw the ball a couple of times. Like, you see him all over the place. We talk about loving football. This kid's a baller. This guy loves football. You can tell by the attitude he has in the field. You don't even got to worry about that. And he's not a burner, but he's got good enough speed to get deep. And he's not a massive player, but he's 5'11", 192. He's big enough where he's not going to get beat around there. Now, he didn't run a 40 at the combine. He ran about a 4.4, mid 4.4 at the USC's Pro Day. So for those who care about that useless stat. Does have a little shorter arms, though. He's not going to be the guy with the jump ball winner.
We had Wandell.
Not, again, good enough speed, but not blazing. But he's just a really good, versatile player. And I like what you said before, Rob. You're right. I think he's a great fit with Nabers.
Yeah, he's a different player of Nabers, which I think complements him very well.
Yeah, and separation, like we said, there works with the system. He's a fit for what the Giants do. I could actually make the fit that I think he's a better fit than Tate for the Giants. A lot of fans want.
You wouldn't be wrong. A lot of fans they just hear the name Tate and hear is supposed to be the best guy coming to the draft.
Oh, yeah.
So automatically they want the best player to come to the Giants, which it makes sense. But you dive into it, like the fits, like we're talking about before, and schemes, like it's something it has to make sense.
Yeah. It does. It does. And like I said, I like my thing too is that every single guy we've talked about, by the way, has been a number one receiver, pretty much. Not Tate. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I like him. I honestly think that I would want, for the Giants specifically, would want Lemon over Tate. I think Tate's a better player overall, slightly, against splitting hairs, but I think Lemon actually fits the Giants better and what we want to do. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right, number 2, the aforementioned Carnell Tate, born in Chicago, Illinois. Chicago. One of the youngest players in this draft, by the way, guys. Born January 19th, 2005. So he just turned 21 years old like 2 months ago.
Drew, you graduated high school 10 years before that. How does that make you feel?
I'm not that old. It's 5 years. I have a sister that old, but I'm not that old. Luckily, I'm the youngest. 6'3", 195 pounds. Started off 23 in Ohio, 13 games, 18 catches, 264 yards and a touchdown. 24, 15 games, 52 catches, 733 yards, 4 touchdowns. This past season, 16 games, 51 catches, 875 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Missed a couple games with a lower body injury. So it's a short-term kind of thing there. Again, college, they don't give all the info that NFL does, so we don't know what kind of injury there. Here's my thing. Most boards, again, we talked about it before. Most boards, he's number 1 for everybody. I don't get it. He's a good, solid receiver. I don't see explosive, crazy, elite traits. I see good, solid guy who's going to be probably a decent number 2 receiver.
Yeah, I mean, he's very versatile when it comes to playing at the wide receiver, but it's just he's good at a lot, but he's not great at, like, dare I say it, a thing.
He's a steady guy. He's steady.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's like, do you want the girl next door? Or, do you want the bikini swim model?
Sports Illustrated, here I come.
I'm just saying, like, that's the difference we're talking about here. Like, that's where we're at. And I think one of the things I have trouble with, we talked a second ago with when we're talking about Lemon, like, he wasn't even the best receiver on his team. And listen, before I even get too far on that, Jeremiah Smith is the top receiver for Ohio State last year and has been for a while now. 1,243 yards, 12 touchdowns, 87 receptions that kid had. Absolute goddamn beast. Still going back to school because he can't even come out yet. Like, broke out as a freshman even. Like, he's going to be when he comes out, he's going to be an absolute beast in the draft next year. But I'm not holding against Tate that he's the number 2. But I'm going to sit there and say this. He wasn't facing the top corners. So, yes, he's playing a legit conference. Ohio State plays legit competition. But the role in the passing game was not stop Tate, it was stop Smith. Every other person we've talked about here today has been stop him. This is our number 1 receiver.
I mean, I can see the arguments in both ways because they're like, look what he did as number 2, where he wasn't the number 1 target. They're still able to put up those yards and be good. So, like, I get the argument where it's like, hey, is he as good as what it's let on? Because look at these stats. At the same time, it's he could have had more passes to him and had more stats, but there was someone else in the room.
Yeah. And, like I said, I don't know. Again, I see a good player. I see a legit good player. I see a legit first-round talent. I don't see top 5. And that's my issue I'm having. So, listen, good size, good catch radius, solid outside receiver, good routes, strong hands, good at the catch point. He can help you in the red zone. He'll move the chain. Productive guy. But he's not a burner. He's not going to be great at the separation. He's got not exactly the best yak production.
Yeah.
He has issues sometimes when you watch the tape of some press corners. So let's think about that. Everything the Giants want to do. Get separation, quick move, get yak yards. He doesn't fit the offense, guys. This is like trying to put Darren Waller at fullback.
Oh, what a mistake.
But I'm saying, I mean, legit, I'm trying to stress the point. It's just the more and more I watched his film, the more and more I watched what he did, I didn't like it. For the Giants specifically, he's going to be a good receiver for somebody else. He doesn't fit what the Giants want to do, at least what we think the Giants want to do. Lemon does. Casey Concepcion does. Tate doesn't. So I just don't think he's a fit. And I don't think enough Giants fans are realizing and talking about it. And again, I know BPA, I say all the time, take the best player available. Make your offense fit him. When you're splitting hairs, are you really making that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna, if you have multiple receivers you could take potentially, and they're all within a decimal point of each other, why would you take the one that doesn't fit your offense?
Say you take the one that aligns with what you want production wise.
Yes, 100%. So, but again, I'm not negative on Tate. I'm just negative on him for the Giants. I just want to be clear about that. I don't hate him.
Yeah.
I just don't like him for the Giants. I don't think it's a fit. For somebody else, he's going to make an offensive coordinator very happy. Like he's just a steady, solid receiver. That's what he is. So, all right. Next up, our number one. And I know we're not the only ones that did this, but we're definitely one of the fewer. Number one for us is Jordyn Tyson from Allen, Texas. 21 years old, also another very young one. He'll be 22 though in August. 6'2", 200 pounds. And it's funny, we had a Commanders guy trying to. You're good, dude. We don't get upset at the people on the teams in the year. Don't you worry, man. 6'2", 200 pounds. Started off at Colorado, ended up going to Arizona State for most of his career there. Started at Colorado again, 22, 9 games. 22 receptions, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. Is a Pac-12 Freshman of the Week 1 week. Got a Special Teams Player of the Week at Pac-12 as well. So led Colorado in receiving yards as a true freshman. Again, Colorado sucked back then. This is pre-Deion. So, not that Deion did good last year either, but it's a whole separate issue.
Yeah.
23, again, goes over and transfers over to Arizona State. Really just didn't do much at all. It's like basically a redshirt year. Then all of a sudden, 24 breaks out. 12 games, 75 catches, 1,101 yards, 10 touchdowns. Now, he did get injured against Arizona, missed the postseason in 2024. Big 12 Offensive Newcomer of the Year, first team All Big 12, AP third team All American, had 5 games over 100 yards. So almost half his games were over 100 yards. 8 catches of 50 yards or more. Big play. So legit season. This past year, 9 games, 61 catches, 711 yards, 8 touchdowns, AP All-American. And everybody saw how crazy good he was. But he got injured. And that's the biggest issues here. The injuries. And problem I run into with this, guys, Rob and I, we talk about this all the time. We don't know the injury issues. We don't know the medicals. Here's what I can tell you. There's not a single player on the field, or in the draft, I should say, that when healthy is able to do right now what he can do when he's healthy.
Yeah, it's impressive. But that's the thing. You're dealing with, is he healthy? Is he going to stay healthy?
Yeah, and I don't know. So, major knee injury in 22. Tore his ACL, MCL, PCL, and every CL, basically. But again, that's 22. Fractured his clavicle in 24. That was the injury that he had that ended his season there, right before the postseason there. Hamstring issues this year. So there's the injuries. So I think that you just got to check the medical with this kid if you're interested in him. Like you just got to go ahead and check.
Yeah, scrub that. Yeah.
And if you want to know who he is as a person, that's easy enough if you're the Giants. Go talk to Scatterboo.
I was going to say, maybe reunited with a former teammate.
And it feels so good. But that's where you're at there. You literally have a guy on your team that can tell you everything you need to know about this kid.
Yeah. Inside the locker room is talk, whatever.
Yep. And I would imagine the Giants have already had that conversation. 100% would. But if you want a guy who can stretch the field, this is the guy. Tate's not doing that. Lemon's not necessarily doing that. KC Concepcion is going based on yak yards.
Yak.
This is the only guy that you're sitting there is like, this is the guy who could potentially be an elite receiver in the NFL out of this draft, in my eyes. The rest of them, all very good to good.
Fair.
You want to talk about it? If I had to place money right now on which one of the receivers in this draft is going to be a number one receiver, a Pro Bowler, and has the best chances to turn to a Hall of Famer, it's Jordyn Tyson.
Yeah, he's definitely up there for me.
Yeah.
It's between him and Lemon.
Well, when life gives you lemons.
Turn it into a Pro Bowl.
But like I said, it's where I'm at there. And again, you saw it from the get-go. You got special teams abilities even. I don't know if you put him on special teams with the injury risk, but I'm just saying. Like,
no. Put him in a plastic bubble when he's off the field.
But what I do like about it is like, and obviously we fell for Penix there a couple years ago, and obviously that has not worked out for the Falcons. We admit we're right, we admit we're wrong. At least so far wrong. But
they're gonna have to get an extra blue tint between Penix Jr. and Tua down the Falcons.
Oh my God, it's gonna be horrible there. But here's the difference: Penix was a couple of knee issues. This is one massive. I'm just saying this is one massive knee injury. I'm not going to go past that. A massive knee injury 4 years ago. Plus a clavicle. Plus a hamstring. These are different. It's not like he's re-injuring the same part of the body over and over again. That's where I've been more concerned. Been more concerned for like he was like the Fedoni of wide receivers and tore to ACL twice in the same day. Or he was 10 concussions in and probably shouldn't be playing football anymore. That's the stuff that would get me going. So I like it. And I think him being explosive like that, I think he works out very well. The scary thing, almost to a certain degree, and I don't think he's as good as him. Be very clear on that. He's very similar to Nabers, I feel like, to a certain degree. Just the twitchiness, the explosiveness, that kind of stuff there. Imagine the two of them on the outside.
It's a lot of ego right there.
That'd be fun to watch. It'd be fun to watch. And again, I think you can trade down and get him. I don't know how far. Depends on how far you're willing to risk it. Because I do think he's going to be a top 10 pick. I don't think it's past the Saints pick 8. I'll put it that way. That's where I think the maximum he would go. I think he's that good. So.
I think so. Yeah.
I think Browns would be the first team that are going to definitely pick a wide receiver. And the Saints, I think, are the second one. So if Tate and Tyson aren't gone by 8, I'd be shocked. But we'll see. But to me, because of the explosiveness, Tate's number 1. So let us know in the comments, though, what you guys think. If you think we're crazy, feel free to say it. If you think we're right, we definitely appreciate you saying it.
We're definitely crazy and right.
You know, put your top 3 in the comment sections. Let us know what you guys think there. And before you guys leave, because we're going to be cutting down here soon in a minute, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. That thumbs up makes a big difference there, guys, on how many people get this video fed to them through YouTube. If you haven't already, do me a favor. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are literally 22 subscribers away from 2,000. 22.
It's going to be so awesome, guys. Please help.
Yeah. Like, we will definitely be celebrating that day. Rob already said that he's going to put a hat on, and it's going to be one of those ones with the beers on the side. He's going to drink all the beers through the hard hat with the. Oh yeah!
Let's go.
While wearing Groucho Marx sunglasses there. All right.
Let's go.
All right, guys. So listen, we'll be back again for you guys Monday. We don't know what we'll be doing then. Depends what happens over the weekend. We may be doing another draft show. We may be doing news show. It depends on what breaks between now and then. So we'll see. But we appreciate you guys watching, listening, supporting as always. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we are available on YouTube, the preferred platform that we're hoping you already hit that thumbs up and sub to. Even if you're on a different platform, move on over. Of course, we're going to go ahead and be on Facebook, Twitter/X, Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite.
My LinkedIn
profile. And of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones. And Spotify switches over to video usually within 24 hours. It's the funky way you got to do with Spotify. Before we go, we did get one question just now. All of a sudden, Sean Jackson says, "Good evening, guys. If the Giants slick Sunny Styles at 5, how far do you think Tate or Downs could drop within top 20? Could Kayvon and Nubin be possibly trade chips on draft night? Kayvon, yes. Nubin, no."
They've been trying to. It seems like they've been trying to move on from Kayvon, as long as they're getting the right compensation.
But if somebody offers him a day 2 pick, he's gone. I'm telling you that right now. If somebody offers him a day 2 pick, they're gone. But let me ask you this: what the hell would someone give up for Nubin?
Not really nothing right now.
So your best bet is to try to hopefully get him going, get him at this new offense, a new defense, and get things going. Bernard's got a history of working very good with guys in the secondary. So I'm hoping they can salvage a kid that we liked a lot coming out of school there. So, all right, guys. Again, we will see you guys Monday night. Have a happy, safe weekend. And as always, Giants fans, go G-Man! Go G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.